Here is an example of how to use multiple models. Each of these models has an animation mixer property which has been slightly offset in the walk cycle. In each of the resolutions, here I'm going to change to, we have here, which is a resolution at low res, which is just walking on the spot. The medium res is the same model but has an animation of the character walking forward, and the high res is just a standard high res model. If I were to switch to high resolution for this character, you notice that I've specified my model to be have no animation on it at all. It's just much higher resolution. What that means is I can do is work on my low resolution for my animation and propagate that through to the high resolution models. What I can also do is, instead of having to switch these one by one, if I have my model selected like this, I can go model, set my resolution, and I can set it to like a low res. It will recognize that I have the model selected and will therefore switch the resolution based on the selection. If I have nothing selected and I want to switch them to, say, the medium resolution, it's going to do all of them. It's going to do it for all of my characters because I didn't specify any selection criteria. So there they go with a different animation. If I were to go into either my selection or my model sources, there are all my model sources here. What I'm going to do is go into my selection and hit enter. I've now got multiple ones selected. I'm going to turn on the animation mixer properties. So I want the animation mixer properties to be able to be propagated through the resolution. So I'm now going to change this to my high resolution. So I can use the multiple resolution reference models not only to work at different resolutions and have the geometry propagated externally to the scene by perhaps my standard modeler. It's a way in which I can lock properties down and knowing that they're not going to be overridden. It's a way for me to propagate animation across these resolutions, or it's a way in which I can have multiple instances of a model and be able to just change different types of animation. So here I had the animation from the low resolution walking on the spot, the medium resolution walking forward, the high resolution doing nothing, but at the last minute, there we go, my high resolution has inherited the properties I need. Here I have two models. They were once together and enveloped. As you can see here, I just have the animation on these nulls and it's not driving the envelope anymore. Even though under this model there is still in fact an envelope operator, but right now it's actually not being attached to anything. If I were to go and import the reference model, and I will start with the just the null model here, what I can do is specify right now, when I bring in the envelope only, model, is that it will automatically bind to it. This model knew that it was bound to another mesh called envelope only. So when I were to import another reference model or even another model, it's going to say, oh yeah, no problem, I found that model on import and attach myself to it. So this is a way in which you can separate models This one is the mesh, these are the deformers, and have them linked together. If I have multiple deformers, I'll just separate it by, here we go, commas. One other thing is that sometimes you might see an appended name to the reference model, and that would be inside the preferences, is that you would use prefix for reference model names, and it would say reference model. If you don't want that to happen, you just need to make sure that's checked off.